As voting begins across the country, Trump is dominating the early vote as Joe Biden hides in his basement. In this video, we're going to take a look at the latest polls. We're going to get a snapshot of the votes that have thus far been cast, particularly in the swing states, and why we really are seeing what is perhaps the beginning of a groundswell that will put President Trump over the top on November 3rd. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Patriots all across the globe. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you as always. A warm welcome to all of our first-time viewers. We post 2 videos a day, analyzing current events, live some super awesome conservative trends, so we can all live in the present in light of even better things to come. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. It'll be an absolute privilege to have you as a regular part of this channel where each and every day we together celebrate the inevitable collapse of left-wing globalism and the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. Let's start by giving a huge shout out to the sponsors of this video, and that's the makers of this beautiful 2020, Christ the Last Supper coin. And you're not going to believe this limited edition highly sought after coin is actually being given away completely for free until it runs out. Now on the front side is a beautiful etched out illustration of Christ, and on the reverse side it's a perfectly etched illustration of the Last Supper. Absolutely beautiful. Now like I said, for a limited time the Last Supper coins are free, so they're going to go fast. You need to click on that link below today before they're all out. And once they run out, that is it, my friends. You will not have another opportunity like this one. So don't wait. Make sure to click on that link below and include this little blessing in your life today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. What I want to do today is I want to give you a bit of a snapshot of where we are in the election. The election, of course, is already under the way with all the mail-in voting and some in-person early voting. And I particularly want to look at the swing states and provide you with a bit of a snapshot for where we are in all of this. So let me start first. Let me frame it with some opinion polling. Trump right now is at a 49% job approval, according to Rasmussen, which puts him 2 points higher than where Obama was 2 weeks before he went on to win re-election rather handily. We're seeing, too, a massive closing of the gap between Trump and Biden. Remember those 14-point polls, those 14-point leads the Marxist media was peddling a couple of weeks back? Not anymore. The latest IBD poll has Trump pulling within 2 points of Biden. Now, you've heard of the Trafalgar Group. They're the only polling company that correctly forecasted that Donald Trump was going to beat Hillary Clinton in the state of Michigan. The Trafalgar Group is not interested so much in national polls. They see such polls as irrelevant in terms of the Electoral College, so they focus instead on state and local polling, regional polling, and extensive questionnaires that help them get a better sense of how the voter is most likely going to vote. And what's so interesting is that these questionnaires that they use, they've helped them identify the so-called secret or silent Trump voter, because what they'll get is the initial answers to whom they're going to vote for. They'll get something like, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe Biden. Okay, I don't know. And then throughout the rest of the questioning, the pollsters could figure out, this guy is definitely a Trump voter. There's no way he's voting for Biden. So that's at least a couple of ways that Trafalgar Group is unique in terms of how they conduct their very intricate polling. They have President Trump now within 1 point in Pennsylvania, and they believe that Trump is in fact going to take Pennsylvania. Remember, in terms of voter registration, the GOP registered over 100,000 more voters than Democrats in Pennsylvania over the course of the year. And that should make up for any of the shenanigans and voter fraud that Chief Justice John Roberts just ensured Democrat election supervisors could try to pull off. I mean, I find it so ironic. Roberts is a fraud conservative who votes with the 3 other liberals in the Supreme Court to allow fraud to run rampant in Pennsylvania. I mean, it's called the swamp. But regardless, that's the opinion polling. Now, let's get to the actual voting that's been taking place over the last couple of weeks. We talked a little bit about this in yesterday's video, but in a nutshell, it is appearing more and more the case that Biden's election strategy to get massive mail-in vote advantages has backfired. It simply is not happening in the states that he needs it to happen in, particularly the swing states, to overcome the historic sea of Republican voters that vote in person on election day. So let's take a look at Florida. Here's what the Florida electoral map looks like so far. Now, do you see all that red, right? What's going on in Florida is actually pretty astonishing. And again, I'm very grateful to the analysis provided by Larry Schweikert here. What I like about Schweikert's analysis is he's not so interested in actual numbers in terms of the voting. What he's really interested in is benchmarks. So historically, the way it works is that, for whatever reason, Democrats always have an inordinate advantage when it comes to early voting, voting by mail, or even in-person early voting. So when you look at the numbers and you see that the Democrats are up by, say, 400,000 votes, well, some might, say, oh, that's terrible. But Schweikert would say, well, that's a massive Trump victory. And that's because on election day, Republican voters will come in mass and swamp that voter advantage. That's why Democrats need to be leading by 650,000 votes. And so far, there are over 200,000 votes shy of that. So on election day, November 8th of 2016, Hillary led in Florida by just under 100,000 votes and ended up getting crushed by over 100,000 votes. And we're already seeing the Democrat lead shrink quite literally hourly. Just from this morning, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., Republican voters knocked 10,000 off the Democrat lead in just 3 hours. And they still have 15 or so counties to go who have yet to vote in person, and they're all Republican counties. So we ain't seen nothing yet in terms of Republican vote tallies. In fact, when that vote tally of plus 10,000 for the Republicans was published, the libs on Twitter absolutely freaked out. Check this out. Look at this tweet. GD, we're done, man. My fellow Dems, time to pack up from Florida and save the Rust Belt. We still have a chance. Forget a 400 landslide and focus all energy on winnables for 270 plus victory. Forget 400. Let's just go with 270. From 400 to 270 in 3 hours. It doesn't get better than that. And in terms of voter fraud in Florida, my colleague Kerry Lutz over at Financial Survival Network, great podcast. He was just telling me today, we were talking earlier today, he mentioned that Broward County and Palm Beach County, which are two of the most corrupt counties in Florida in terms of voter fraud. The Republican governor there, Ron DeSantis, actually fired the election supervisor in Palm Beach County, and he got rid of the election supervisor in Broward County. They're both gone. And so two of the most corrupt counties in Florida have been effectively neutralized. So what we can expect from here on in is that Florida should be going more and more red, more and more GOP each and every day, all the way up to the red tsunami on November 3rd. So Florida is really looking amazing right now. Now, before we go into Arizona, I want to make sure that you all know that we have tons of special videos that are available only to our members of our Turley Talks Insiders Club, which you could join right now at a special low price that we're offering for limited time by clicking on the link below in the pinned comment section. Now, if you want more access to me and to a global network of conservatives all over the world, you will definitely want to become a Turley Talks Insiders Club member. You can get all kinds of deep dive videos, merch, benefits, which you're absolutely going to love, and all for an all-time low price. But it's a limited time offer, so do not wait. Make sure to click on that link below and become a Turley Talks Insiders Club member today. All right, so let's head on over to Arizona. The GOP is beating the Democrats in early voting by over 100,000 votes. Very impressive what's going on in Arizona. So much so that Schweikert is saying, in effect, we can move Arizona to a safe state, as it were, for the GOP, which should help Martha McSally, who's running for Senate there in Arizona. In North Carolina, the Republicans have closed the percentage gap with the Democrats over the course of the last 5 straight days, knocking 2 points off the gap just yesterday alone. So this is why the analysts over at JP Morgan forecast that President Trump is going to win Florida, Arizona, and North Carolina just by virtue of voter registration alone. The GOP has been doing so well in all 3 states, and we have to be careful that we don't assume that registered Democrats are all going to be voting for Biden, either in North Carolina or many of the Rust Belt states like Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, Pennsylvania. As I understand, many of those who vote conservative and are of the age 65 years or older are still registered Democrats, right? They haven't changed their voter affiliation, but they vote Republican. So while Trump got 94% of the vote in the GOP primary this year, Biden struggled. I mean, he didn't even get 10% in New Hampshire. It was humiliating. So while we're justified in assuming that Trump will get 90% plus of all GOP votes, all bets are off when it comes to Biden. So North Carolina is looking very, very good as well for Trump. Let's go on over to Ohio, the bellwether state. Right? He who wins Ohio wins the election. At least that's the way it's been. That's been the pattern of the last several election cycles. In Ohio, the Republicans are beating the Democrats 45% to 42%. The Democrats are flat out losing Ohio. The Democrats are losing Ohio. They're losing Florida, the two bellwether states that determine who wins the general election. And the Republicans are dominating in both states. I mean, it's just amazing. So with the election underway, I can assure you this is not what the Biden campaign wanted to see. They wanted to see overwhelming numbers in Florida and Arizona and Pennsylvania, North Carolina and Michigan, and we're just not seeing it. I think we now know why Biden is hiding. I think his campaign is really imploding right before our very eyes. This is not going to turn out the way he hoped. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you will definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on how the ultra-left CNN legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin got utterly humiliated after he gets caught exposing himself on a Zoom call. You're not going to want to miss this. I don't know why, but you'll want to check it out. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.